sanity tends to be a challenge for some. And I just heard off, and we are on our way. Our first piece of heart.
And both are going for that assured sword.
Definitely a good play here with an early with a hard mode seed in front of us. Any kind of offense is definitely helped for, because we were only going to find all 4 swords are in the item pool, but only 3 will be available to us today. And here's one of them so far, with an early tier 1 tree pull being single hearts.
Yep, with hard mode, we only get to tempered sword, we only get to red shield, we only get to blue mail. You only find a maximum of 14 hearts and no half magic. And there's Moon Pearl in the Uncle Tunnel.
Well, that's a rather kind location for that to be hiding. And it looks like Xyrak may be heading deeper into escape, and Leslie Pro has decided to nope out, likely heading over to Kakariko.
Sanctuary having the mirror. How convenient.
We are setting ourselves up for some interesting logical choices. And we get an early map check to remember, oh wait, this is Key Sanity. We can't see anything on the map until the dungeon maps are found. It looks like Leslie Pro's going to make their way up toward the Skullwoods, hopefully making a lumberjack check on the way. There is a larger chance of something useful being hidden on that lumberjack ledge with Key Sanity thrown into the mix. Or it could just be a small key for some place we don't need to go.
Instead, it's just a big 20.
Definitely a weight off of Leslie's mind in the early start of this game, as Xyrak's making their way through the escape, and not a whole lot turned up quite yet.
So far we found 2 maps in Hyrule Castle Escape. Again, maps. Well, one of them is Pod, so that will at least help us tell what's in Pod. The other one is Ganon's Tower, which doesn't help us one bit.
And there we have the Thieves Town map growing in the Lost Woods.
We have guard-on-guard crime on our way to Zelda's cell. We also... I think I saw a power glove in the Lost Woods hut.
One thing that are not better your eyes is that was indeed the power glove. For those asking in chat, the tiebreaker races are to be completed by Friday, if I remember correctly. Or is it the 9th? It was the 6th or the 9th?
It was the 9th.
The 9th, so that was... how do calendars work? That would be Sunday.
Yes.
As we get to have the fun of deleting most of the block puzzle here. And there's our Thieves Town big key. So a lot of Thieves Town open to us now. We have a sword and can even clear through it. And that's a pod small key, one of the 6 we will need to find to logically finish the dungeon. Though with runners of this caliber, you would only probably need 4.
Yeah, we'll break that down a little more when we actually get to Pod, but the Thieves Town big key will certainly mean once we can get to Dark World, Thieves Town will certainly be available to us.
It's definitely one you like to find early, because there's a lot of easy-to-access checks in Thieves Town. Just finding a whole bunch of 5ers here in the well. A lot of those are probably replacements for those hard pieces and containers that are replaced because hard mode. Also the... never mind.
There's another pod small key in the well.
And I saw a 5 crystal in Eastern.
And we also have a regular crystal at Hera.
Alright, so we're getting ourselves up here to some easier to complete dungeons with some of our crystals that we need to get our way into the tower.
And I think that was a successful chicken clip.
I'm admittedly not familiar with the trick, but it does look interesting.
I didn't see the chicken on the other side. Basically, you can throw the chicken into the door, but I didn't. Usually, it shows up on the other side, but I didn't see it.
Just a few more sticks here in the back of the brewery, of the bar.
Now, Leslie not having enough money to pay off the bottle vendor, and with having to buy those bombs, certainly won't. So, and I don't think Xyrak will be in the same position, so they'll have to keep that bottle vendor in the back of their minds.
Well, Xyrak has enough bombs to complete through what they've got up here, so they're doing okay. They may not have to purchase, or did they already?
Alright, so we have a mail upgrade on the library ledge. And free bombs at the race game.
Interesting to decide to check it instead of diving it. A lot of times in Key Sanity, you'll see that just straight dove because of how many more items are available because keys.
You see Xyrak tried to do that chicken clip as well, but just got caught in the wall. And Turtle Rock big key in back of escape.
Definitely a good key to knock off the list. No guarantee it's necessary because this is a Ganon required seed, not all dungeons, but
hey, you never know. Just because the goal is to just get the 7 crystals doesn't mean the seed won't make you get the pendants as well.
oh yes, don't we all know that? Right? And you definitely have to think that the chances are a bit higher of seeing all the dungeons with Key Sanity.
So for anybody new, we actually should probably mention what Key Sanity is. In the normal randomizer, we randomize all the items in the game. The dungeon items stay in their respective dungeons, but they're randomized within the dungeon. In Key Sanity mode, those dungeon items are mixed in with the rest of the item pool. So as you're seeing, they can be in the world anywhere outside of its respective dungeon.
There is at least one key that it's left in its vanilla location, and that's in the bumper the bumper room in the Skull Woods to prevent soft lock.
Nicely done on the Bob strats on Leslie's side. But only finding a Turtle Rock small key.
And that's one of 4 that we'll have to find. 3, if we're going to go mode it, we can abandon the vanilla big key location. So far, not much of a direction we've been pointed into this seed, though we still have most of Eastern Palace available to us, as well as Sasarhala.
Also, Genus Cave.
Who could forget that desert hermit?
We have another pod key in Xyrak Cave, so we've already got 3 of those. The scene is certainly setting up that once we can get Dark World access, Pod and Thieves Town certainly seem like they're probably going to have something.
No, absolutely. That's definitely the direction we're being pointed in. However, we still need to find at least the hammer or another lift upgrade to make our way into the Dark World. Key sanity is definitely one of those modes where as you gain access to a thing, you generally want to check the thing.
And once again, Swamp Palace is the green pendant.
Oh joy! So many, one of the most item-dense dungeons in the game. We don't have to require for the goal.
Meanwhile, we have a cane of Samaria in the back of Sahasrah's closet, which... Why are the runners taking an old man's cane? I mean, that's rude.
The real question is, why does this cane make blocks?
There is that.
That explode into fireballs. Is this village elder really to be trusted?
I don't know.
He just send you to find his necklace and to just reward you with maybe nothing. Time to make some Eastern Palace checks.
And just $5 to start. Should also point out, we were kind of talking earlier and missed that Xyrak did take a death before getting to Xyrak Cave. So Xyrak right now is only at 2 keys. 2 pod keys, I should specify.
Interesting to see how that might play out later in the game, depending on what is hiding in the Palace of Darkness. Be curious to see. Go ahead.
There's the hammer in Eastern, so that is our Dark World access.
That definitely feels a little bit rougher for Xyrak, having missed that pod small key, as we can now just walk on down and head into pod. And with those 3 keys, I forget exactly how the key sanity logic works, but it definitely adds a bit of value to the play. Or I forget how deep that pushes you in.
I honestly don't know. I just know it by kind of the runner logic that the runners would have. Fire-locked Mire doesn't have anything, so that's good. Once we find the bow, you can avoid having to use the front door. But since we don't have the bow, we may have to go through that front door, which would mean then we would need 5 keys. I think with 3 you can get to the back, but you wouldn't be able to do Harmless Hellway, or you'd have to choose between Harmless Hellway, Dark Maze, and Vanilla Big Key Chest.
Well, as of right now, unless we find that lamp, that Dark Maze would be out of logic. So it's interesting to... It really depends on how hard you want to follow the logic or clear the checks. With runners of this caliber, the logic isn't really something that's strictly stuck to. As Leslie Clay not quite getting that damage boost, just opting to clear the room.
Meanwhile, I think Xyrak's going to show us Hype Cave next.
Let us see what kind of hype we can find, if any at all. We're definitely looking for some kind of hype. We've got a few pieces, but nothing that's really pointing us in a direction.
$5 certainly isn't hype right now. Or a piece of heart. Or more cash. Small key to GT, and ether.
I'll give it a 2 if that ether unlocks something we need. But that's a big caveat. It looks like Leslie's going to head on over into the Dark World via the Skull Woods portal.
And Stumpy... did he, like, raid a safe or something?
Take this $300. Now I'm a tree.
And we got Ice Rod in South Grove Cave. We also saw that Thieves Town is a crystal, and Ice Palace is also a pendant.
It definitely feels good to get to tick that Ice Rod off the list, as that's the actual Ice Rod, but being that this is Key Sanity, there are a few more potential Ice Rods out there.
Alright, we got a Cane of Brine in the Village of Outcasts.
Just one more, so we found both Arcane. That would open up Spike Cave in the logic once we find the lamp of the flute to give us true logical access to the mountain.
We also have a bottle in the C-shaped house, and Digging Game having the useless Hyrule Castle key. So I imagine Leslie's gonna go check Sick Kid now.
Absolutely, and if they have not already, they would probably get in their bottle vendor, but I think they cut on the way up.
And Sick Kid has some water toes.
Perhaps he truly got sick snorkeling as opposed to that cold wind off Death Mountain.
I mean, it's also winter time, you know. Trying to swim in this time of year, like, you're just gonna get hypothermia.
Definitely does not seem like the best move, as we found yet another pod small key. That's enough for these runners to clear the whole dungeon if we find that bow somewhere soon. The logic is definitely pointing us toward that Dark Palace once we make our way through Thieves Town here. I would imagine perhaps we'd see maybe the front side of Skull Woods checked before we truly head that direction. So it does lead one to wonder how long it's going to take Xyrak to head back to Ice Rod and pick up that fourth key, especially if we find the lamp or the bow somewhere up ahead to open more of Pod logically. More
So
Skull
we've
Woods
got
to be seen. Go ahead.
So I got I was about to say we've got Xyrak and Skullwoods, Leslie's and Thieves Town. Now, normally in Thieves Town we would make a point here that, you know, we've got the hammer so we can check what's in the Thieves Town big chest. Small problem. We need a small key to get into that room, and we haven't seen it yet.
And that's one of those keys that could be hiding. It could potentially be another hard to find item if it's holding on to something, though we won't really know that for quite a while. Or soon, depending on as Xyrak finds one of the only two assured keys in Key Sanity, the other one being the big key on the ball and chain guard. And did Leslie decide to just not bother with the hint tile there?
Nope. And Leslie also, unfortunately, taking a death. Press F to pay respects.
Those geckos are more dangerous than you'd think they'd be.
And Leslie decides that's enough. 3 hearts, green mail, Thieves Town. I'm coming back later. Which, frankly, given how well I play this game, I'm not opposed to that.
No, I can definitely agree that.
All right, we got Titan's Mitts in the brewery.
All right, so we're definitely lifting our way through this seed. More of the world open, but still missing a lot of keys before we really get somewhere. And also some kind of extra logical access to the mountain, as we can now reach almost everything on the mountain except for what's in Hookshot Cave, but no absolute way to get there. At least that the game expects, at least that we've seen. As Leslie gets to find the unfortunate news of just how many digs it takes to find this key here.
For those asking in chat, yes, this is race number 3 between Xyrak and Leslie Pro. Retro and Randomizer were the vetoes for this randomly chosen seed.
It looks like we're finally getting a graveyard ledge check from Xyrak here, one of those oft hint-tiled locations.
Leslie's going to take Jeremiah home.
The mirror in hand is a pretty quick and easy check.
Yeah, with having Titan's Mitts and Mirror this early, this is going to be some really good routing for Leslie to do the whole Smith chain and do South Grove Cave and Hype Cave all in one go.
And who could forget those hammer pegs? Now, if only we had a mushroom where we could fake powder.
No, we can't have everything now, can we?
As we see that we just have some minters here. And there's Xyrak's TR big key, but he'll be able to take his small key and go check the dark chest that we have not seen yet. Though not technically in logic, that we know of.
Yep, we would still need the lamp.
Or just a big 20 for hammering all those pegs.
And just a heart container.
Yep.
Sorry, didn't mean to step on you there.
Wait, great minds think alike. Alright, a few more recursive checks here. Xyrak, where are you planning to head next?
Looks like he may be heading back to the Dark World, probably to do Village of Outcasts in Thieves Town.
Definitely seems like a smart play here, and we'll finally we will now get to see what is in that purple chest momentarily, after they go visit Stumpy and get the hoard of rupees he amassed.
Yeah, some people in chat asking about Xyrak's record and whatnot. So to review, Xyrak has 2 races left, one against Leslie, one against Bonta. If Xyrak wins both of those, there will be a 3-way tie in Group H between Bonta, GFE, and Xyrak.
Other
if Bonta wins the race against Xyrak, then Bonta gets the second spot in the bracket stage, no matter what.
Another one of this, if Xyrak were to beat Bonta but lose this race, there would be a 2-way tie between Bonta and GFE. So a lot of different scenarios to play out. This race being the key, the big hinge to see where this group gets to go.
And while we were discussing that, the lunchbox gave us the Hera big key.
Still missing that logical access to the mountain, though. We're being pointed that way. We just need to find the key item that puts us up. Where could those two items be hiding? Titan Smith's fine for Xyrak, and we get another meh cave check.
Given where we are right now, would you think about sequence breaking up to Death Mountain, or would you try to stay in logic?
If I'm at these runners level, perhaps I sequence break the mountain, assuming I can find the lamp. I mean, there's not the other thing we'd be heading toward is Palace of Darkness. I'd be kind of hoping that if I go up the mountain, I find the bow, so I can just knock out Pod, because I would be able to hammer Yump and clear out all of the Palace of Darkness. But I'm not at that level. I would just be crying in the corner, probably.
Yeah, with how many pod keys we've been getting, and the fact that we're at 4 right now, I'm kind of leaning towards going to pod, because early on getting that many keys, I feel like something's in there, but...
Well, we do also have access to the Zora area. We're a little short on the money side yet. And now we find out that we do have another crystal in Desert Palace.
So that means we've got 4 crystals figured out thus far and 2 pendants.
And Leslie's going to go ahead and check out what our friend the hobo has been holding on to.
There's an Ice Palace key, which logically you need it. Our runners most likely would be able to get through Ice Palace without any of the keys.
And it looks like we're going to head on over and get at least a Pyramid Ledge check. Curious to see if they head up. I'd imagine they'd head up toward Catfish and then route in the rest of those. Unless, of course, that guard takes them out.
Yeah.
The overworld has not been kind tonight.
No, and the thing is, we've been teased because there is a mail upgrade on the library, but we don't have the boots to get it, and both of our runners have just been getting abused by all these enemies. As Xyrak also takes a death. That is what hard mode will do with you. I mean, we only have a maximum of 14 hearts we can get to, so the fact that we're at 6 right now on Xyrak's side. I gotta think Leslie probably is heading for, well, for certain Bumper Cave, probably Graveyard Ledge. Might swim over and try to do Catfish after getting bodied on the way to the Pyramid Ledge. Our heart containers in Skull Woods. Thanks, game. That really helps us out a ton. Actually, with this health, it actually would help. But the thing is, Xyrak's already been there. Alright, so earlier on, Leslie did take a death trying to get to the attic, through the attic, and then left from here. So it'll be interesting to see if and when Leslie Leslie will have to come back. Thieves Town is crystal, but point being, when does Leslie decide to come back? We haven't seen that Thieves Town small key, so at this point, well, there's the powder. That could have certainly, now you could have just routed Magic Bat normally. You wouldn't have even needed the mushroom. But anyway, we're going to have to leave that Thieves Town big chest locked because we haven't seen the small key yet. Alright, boss time for Xyrak. Skullwood small key in the Waterfall of Wishing. Very nice work on blind from Xyrak. With a small key to Turtle Rock. And Leslie trying to farm the last 20 bucks for Zora. Having a little bit of trouble with trying to farm it off of these mini Zoras.
And definitely not the most reliable source of money there.
So we did find that Turtle Rock small key in Thieves Town, but really other than that, we didn't really find too much that we absolutely have to have that for like immediate progression. Except that powder, if it leads to Magic Bat. I forgot about the powder.
And we do have access to it with the hammer and the mirror here, so we're curious to see what that leads to.
I think Xyrak may show us here soon.
I have to imagine it's probably coming up next after he turns in the smith to find his fiver. Cast this powder upon my vessel. How dare thee awaken? How dare you awaken thee? I curse thee with a sword. Ha 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 ha!
Wow, I can't believe I've been cursed with this.
Good luck.
It's dangerous to go alone.
Be curious to see. So we're still looking for any kind of real progression. The only thing that's really jumping out at me is pod. And that would be assuming that we find an early lantern.
And even then, like, with all these early keys we've been getting, the key sanity logic takes into account how far you can go into pod with those keys. So, you know, certainly feels like there may be something in the front of pod.
And Leslie Pro finishes that side of the escape. As Xyrak finds their Tower of Hera big key hiding in the purple chest.
And Leslie's probably gonna make their way to the heart container that we found in the Dark Cross room. And Xyrak is gonna dip Swamp Palace for I would think, the first item. Because we haven't seen the Swamp Palace small key.
But that chest technically is in logic. He's like, do I really want to do this? Yeah, let's do this.
And he keeps going back and forth. I think he's gonna do it.
I mean, with the mirror and flippers, that chest is in logic. It's a really rude place to put progression, but this is Randomizer after all. And we do get the hint tile.
Rando doesn't care about your feelings. And there's a unique item in left side swamp, and the hint is in swamp.
There's a castle tower small key, so that's 2 more checks that have just opened up to the runners in full. And with that Master Sword, we can check both of those Aga Tower chests.
Only one of them is in logic, though, because you need the lamp for the second one. And actually, the key gets you to the second one. The first one we could have already gotten to.
It definitely feels better going and being able to do both of them.
In fact, if you know how to do that maze room, I honestly would probably mirror when I go check Pyramid Ledge and just go check those 2 chests. Because at this point, we know Lumberjack Ledge has nothing. And we also have seen that Pod is a crystal. But back to the point at hand, like, we're not going to have to kill Aga 1 for Dark World access. So you got the 1 key. I'd sequence break, check both chests, and call it a day.
It definitely seems like a good play.
And Xyrak is now about to go back to Ice Rod Cave and get that small key he missed earlier.
And we will get to see on one of those not often checked hint tiles, and find out that some bombs are held with the fishes.
I'm pretty sure that's what I saw at Catfish.
Alright, so there's still 1 more fish. So Leslie did not gain enough rupees to go check King Zora when they got up there.
And Leslie is making their second attempt into Thieves Town to get the powder and the Turtle Rock small key.
It looks like Xyrak's going to start a bit of a rupee farm here. Well, as we make some recursive checks and plot our way through the world a little bit, please do these runners a favor and give them a follow. They are putting themselves out there and putting on one heck of a race so far. The least they deserve is a little bit of love from you in the form of a Twitch follow.
Absolutely. And Xyrak walking away and then remembering, oh right, I forgot about Hobo. I should probably go do that.
Definitely seems good. Oh joy, the Ice Palace key. Definitely looking more and more toward the Palace of Darkness. It looks like Xyrak is making their way there.
I think it's... Well, I think he's getting health first. And then maybe we'll see what he does next.
It looks like we're getting a little bit of confirmation as we're going to finally see that pod play.
All right.
No bow, so he won't be able to full complete it with his current key allotment.
Nope. And as we were mentioning earlier, with pod, if you have the bow, you can actually route pod where you only need 4 keys. But since we don't have the bow, we're most likely going to have to spend a key on the front door, which would mean that you will now need at least 5. You can save one by hammer yumping into the dark maze from the big chest.
And Leslie is making their blind fight a little bit off script, but shouldn't I spoke too soon?
Yeah, spoke a little too soon on that.
But I will give a moment to give a shout out to Hoff57CB for the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you for supporting Speed Gaming. I feel bad for the commentator curse, but hopefully they'll make their way to the curse of the Master Sword down at Catfish shortly. Or Magic Bat shortly, I should say.
Alright, Mimic Cave has bombs. We don't need to worry about Mimic Cave today.
Xyrak taking a moment to contemplate their life choices that led them to this point. Realizes he can't get onto the bow side. Logically. Don't remember if he has a potion in that bottle or not.
That might have been what he was thinking about.
Because the one bottle I know we found had a bee inside.
Mm-hmm. And we just saw Leslie pick up a red potion, which maybe might send Leslie back into Thieves Town.
And there's our Meyer map. Just 50 down here in pod. We gotta go further if we want to find something of use.
And Leslie is going to make a third attempt at pod, or Thieves Town, although this time it's just going to be for blind.
It looks like we're getting... Oh, gonna continue on first before he hammer yumps.
Yeah, this is kind of common. You throw the bomb first to open it, and then the second attempt, you just go for the... that way you just have to set up the bomb for the bomb jump.
And there's the Ice Palace big key out of logic. And there's the Thieves Town small key, also out of logic.
Okay.
Where is this seed taking us? As Leslie Pro gets the redemption against Blind and picks up their first crystal. And there's a Misery Mire big key.
Okay.
Possibly in logic, but not useful as we don't have the flute. And it looks like we're setting up that hammer yump on Xyrak's side.
I mean, other than the vanilla big key chest, I don't know what else. What else?
The vanilla big key chest should be logically available to us. And then we still have the Agate Tower chests available. At least the first one.
Aeginus Cave. We keep... That's still on logic.
And Zora.
And there's a cape in the Dark Maze. So the thing is, Pod has been loaded, just not loaded with anything that actually can help us.
There really isn't anything that can help us as of yet. Unless, like, that big chest in Thieves Town is holding on to something, but that's still out of logic unless we find that lamp hiding somewhere. But if we find that lamp, that opens up Death Mountain.
And the big key of Desert Palace. So yeah, those keys to early keys we found to Pod certainly led to something. The problem is that it didn't lead to anything that actually can give us progression.
Everything that it landed us there was missing a piece to get to it. The lamp to get to... First off, the lamp to get to those items, and then the flute to get into Mire and or Desert. Or potentially the book. There's just so many things in Pod that were just one piece away for being something. And Leslie's making their way into the desert area, so we may finally see our first visit to our desert hermit here.
I mean, looking at what we got,
and here we have a.
I mean, Zora is certainly in logic. We also forgot about that. We haven't seen what Zora has. So it's Aegina, Zora, and I think first chest in Agate Tower.
And that's a super useless Skullwood small key. Alright, Xyrak, where are you heading next?
Oh, we still haven't seen Pyramid Ledge.
Or did we actually see Catfish?
No, we haven't. But we know one of the... No, yeah, we did see Catfish, because Leslie did the Zora area, but was $20 short, so missed out on Zora.
Yeah, that's right. And Xyrak can go ahead and mix the Agate Tower right in with this play. So we do have the mirror in hand. Alright, the ledge. Fire Rod! We finally have something that sends us somewhere.
Back of Skull Woods.
Which Leslie Pro is at, but has not gotten that Fire Rod yet. Interesting, he chooses not to mirror over to Agate Tower. But he's going to go ahead and check the Catfish and finish up the Zora area that we did not. We did not see the King of all scams. Alright, so what do you think is hiding on Zora? Or do you think Zora is the key?
Well, Fire Rod really only opens up for us the back of Skullwood, so that's 2 checks there. We've got Zora, and we've got the first chest in Agate Tower. I mean, looking at the stuff we got, either the lamp or the flute would get us up to Death Mountain, and that would just open up a ton of stuff.
The Death Mountain is what we really need to get to, but we're missing one piece to get us there. Need to find the flute or the lamp so we can get up to the tower. I mean, we can get into quite a bit of Turtle Rock at this point, provided we find our access to the mountain.
As well as the medallion to get into Turtle Rock.
And Tower of Hera is completable.
Alright, well, there once was a fish named Zora who gives you flippers and vanilla. And Rando, he sucks. For $500, we did this stupid trek for a heart piece.
Alright, there's the bust on that as Leslie Pro decides to use some ether strats here in this room.
And do some ice breaking to get that first chest in Aga Tower.
And we have 10 sticks.
Just 10 sticks. You know how we were talking earlier about would you sequence break to Death Mountain with all the stuff that we have in order to check Death Mountain early on? The more I think about it, the more I probably would have done it.
It's definitely screaming that way. We just have gotten nothing to point us anywhere else.
Alright, Mire is the other pendant, so that means Skullwoods and Turtle Rock are other crystals. But we still have 1 5-6 crystal to identify.
So, looking over what has... I think this back of Skull Woods is about all we've got left to check.
Pretty much.
This seed has just been so dry for so long. We broke into a lot of the... We sequence broke most of the Palace of Darkness, only to find things we were missing pieces for.
And given what we have right now, Lamp just opens up so much.
And that lamp, something that runners often choose to ignore at this level, but right now it's holding back a lot of this seed. It looks like Xyrak's going to decide to check the chest first before diving back into Mothula. And 10 sticks here, so let us hope that this moth is just as lamp as... for these runner's sakes, I'm hoping that the Mothula is just as obsessed with lamps as real moths are.
We're gonna find out. Alright, so since we know what the pendants are... Mire Big Key and Small Keys can't be on pedestal. Swamp Palace, Small and... I think just Small Key. I don't know about Big Key, if it can be on the pedestal, but Hookshot can't. We need either Hookshot or Boots for Mire, so... Not much left in... Not much that can't be on the pedestal.
And Xyrak's going to go ahead and start their Master Sword Mothula fight. And one thing that did elude my mind there for a moment, as with that Ice Palace Small Key and the Fire Rod, we could be eating ice right now. And now we just found the Pod Big Key, still out of logic.
Still out of logic, because you still need the lamp. Yeah, even... See...
It's gotta be ice.
It's gotta be ice, but I would still do that Death Mountain sequence break at this point.
It looks like Xyrak is heading that direction finally. Just deciding that, or... That's the only reason he'd be walking up here is just I'm like, screw it, I'm going up the mountain.
And the vanilla big key chest and pod just had another bottle, so we didn't miss anything.
Alright, so our logical access to the mountain should be hiding here. Should have been hiding in Ice Palace, we could imagine.
So one thing our tracker, Mr. Broadstone, is pointing out is that Xyrak has a 5-6 crystal.
And he also has the Ganon's Tower big key.
Oh, come on! Oh, man! Man, this lamp is holding back so much!
I love Lamp! Come back to us! Alright, chat bringing up something is the... I'm trying to look at the dungeons, and... Unless the flute's hiding in... If the flute is hiding in Ice Palace... Where are our pendants? They're in Mire, Skull, or Swamp Palace, and...
Ice Palace.
Could Lamp be on pedestal?
No, Mire.
Oh, that's right. The Mire has a dark room. I forget about that.
Yeah, kind of important.
Please, Lamp, come to us. Chat bringing up an interesting question. Would you rather have a lampless seed to force play without the lamp, or a fluteless seed? At this point, you need that lamp. There's so much locked behind this world.
Yeah, but I think what Forbidden War is pointing out is that in that you have to play without the lamp and go through the dark rooms. I would rather, like, I know most of the dark rooms, and I'd rather do lampless.
I have accomplished none of them. There's just a big 20 hiding in the bottom of the Tower of Hera. Oh, look! We just found that out!
Gee, thanks, game!
There's the bow!
Okay!
Oh, that sequence break. If he'd have just done this sooner, we'd have had pod completed at this point. There's some times where a sequence break was kind of the right play, and this definitely seems like this is one of those seeds.
Yeah, because I remember chat earlier talking about, and it jogged my memory, but I didn't bring it up at the time, that the way the pod logic is, it basically works out to where it's 1, 2, 5, or 6 is the way, like, the items are laid out.
Ooh! And now we find out there's a sword in the basement of the Tower of Hera here, but we don't have that small key.
Yeah. So let me finish my thought, and then I have another thought related to that. So now thinking about it, now that we had 4, what we were talking about this whole time about would you sequence break Death Mountain, I certainly think that given what we had at the time, that is something we should have done.
No, absolutely, but this also speaks to the greater tournament picture than anything else. Xyrak is playing for their tournament life here. They may be thinking, maybe it's time to go safe. My opponent is the last place in this seed, so I'm thinking I'm leaning more on my execution than on my gambling.
All right, so that leads to an important question based on this hint. We'll wait until Trolldorm has finished perishing. And he has perished for a big 20 and a crystal. Okay. You've got all 7 crystals. You have only Master Sword. Do you mirror, go get that sword upgrade in the basement of Terra before you head into GT?
If you have not found Tempered in any other way, 100%. I think at that point it's still enough of a time. I think the time saved on Moldorm or just even on Ganon seems a bit better.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I totally concur with that. Sorry, I thought you were finished.
The time save on Ganon alone is enough to balance out the coffee break. You would not go for Gold Sword, but Tempered 100%.
Alright, Thieves Town Big Chest is nothing. We know that small key was lamp locked, though.
Just another thing that lamp has locked, but something we're not really stressed in at this point. And there's the Arrow of Destiny picked up for Xyrak through Spiral Cave. And Leslie, where are you heading off to?
Leslie did check Agina.
Oh, they're going to finish their rupee farm and go take care of Zora.
Ah.
Unfortunately, not the play they need to make.
Yeah, Leslie did go check the Aga Tower, but did not check Pyramid Ledge. And I believe Leslie has also checked Catfish.
And there's another pod small key, so that puts us up to 5. So he can go back and complete Palace of Darkness now. There's our Skullwood's big key. Who likes fetch quests?
I know chat does.
There's a GT small key, not the most useful since we already have the Ganon Tower big key, but there's also the everyone's favorite bug net. As Leslie Pro swims their way up and will unfortunately find out some bad news here on Zora. And Xyrak's going to go ahead and climb further up the mountain into Super Bunny Cave, hoping to find something here. And we'll also get to see what is hiding out and what coin will let us into Turtle Rock. Only found one so far.
And there's the hook shot.
Yeah, so sequence breaking Death Mountain. Now, going back to the choice whether or not to sequence break Death Mountain. If you're in Xyrak's shoes, holding on to as many items and things as you found on Ganon's tower, do you feel behind now, thinking maybe they chose to sequence break this?
Probably. I think it would also depend on how well you know Leslie, and if Leslie would have done an early sequence break themselves.
I mean, with all the things that are pointing towards, you would have to think that someone in this tournament would also run up that same decision, as Leslie is going to start making that decision. And we have a Bolt coin to access Turtle Rock.
Now, with 2 small keys, you can get in, but we're 1 shy from being able to actually full clear this right now.
That does open up quite a few checks. It won't get us to Laser Bridge. We do have the other parts of the laser bridge logic puzzle, which which is an invulnerability item, as we found both of them already. As Leslie finds the big key of Evil's Banefield Man. Tenth enemy has the bomb. Good to know.
And Xyrak is gonna dip Turtle Rock. I mean, it makes sense.
Have to say, at least you follow at least these first 3 checks. And probably Chain Chomp Room, whether you decide to go further or not, as it pays off in the Tempered Sword, so I don't think we're going to see that coffee break anymore.
No, I don't think so either.
Because I have to imagine both of our runners are going to find that. And chat, breaking it down, I have to agree that at this point we have to believe that the lamp is hiding in Ice Palace or an item leading to the lamp.
I mean, it could also be the flute.
That would only be if the lamp turned up in here at this point.
I mean, logically speaking, the flute would get us everything but the GT big key from the old man.
And there's our final pod small key. So please, lamp, where are you at? I cannot think in recent memory a seed where that lamp was just locking so much, obviously locking so much of this. The heart piece in the Chain Chomp Room, and we'll continue on. Leslie Pro is making their way up to the Tower of Hera. Not gonna find anything of note except for that hint that lets them know that there's something sharp in the basement. Realizing they don't have the boots, they'll have to go the long way around. Let's see if Xyrak decides to snipe the key or not. I'd imagine they'd have to.
At this point,
with as much... But he's stuck in logic from a lot, so you wonder.
No, I would say you don't check that vanilla big key chest until you either have all 4 keys or you are forced to.
And he decides to snipe the key and then leave. And so he doesn't have enough keys to logically access further. And he's going to make his way over to the other side of the mountain. I'm thinking he's probably going to check Spike Cave at this point, as we have all the pieces. Depending on how things work out, it could have been hiding in that... The lamp could have been hiding on that chest.
You mean the vanilla big key one?
Yeah, the lava bridge. And then the flute was the item hiding in Ice Palace. As Xyrak finally gets that fairy, and Leslie Pro makes quick lurk of Moldorm. And we also could have found our way to the Turtle Rock Big Chest as well. So many interesting choices, and admittedly, I'm not familiar enough with the key sanity logic of Turtle Rock to make a true call, as we just find 10 sticks in the Spike Cave. Now, with the Xyrak save and quit, are we finally going to see that Ice Palace play?
Maybe.
We're definitely heading in the correct direction. But it looks like he's decided I'm just gonna go ahead and mop up maybe the rest of Pod, or maybe go ahead and pick up a potion.
He did Zora.
The only other reason I could see him walking up here is to grab a potion.
Yeah, that probably makes sense.
Though he is sitting pretty good on hearts considering we're in hard mode and with as much of the map has gone unchecked thus far. Pick up the green for the refill and save and quits out.
I feel like that means ice.
It definitely seems like a good play, as he did not have a lot of magic to get him far in Ice Palace.
Yep, this is the play for ice.
And definite thank you to Chloe Proward for helping clear up that Turtle Rock logic for us. As we find out that there's some cash in there. All right, Ice Palace. What secrets have you been hiding all this time?
I do have to say one of the things I love about Key Sanity is that I'm personally a fan of the Pendant Dungeon music, and you get it so more often when you play Key Sanity because they randomize what music is in there to
prevent you to just say, oh wait, I know what this is, because music. You don't get that option here in Key Sanity. Alright, so Ice Palace, we gotta go deeper on to find out where we're going through.
So we're getting a request to kind of do a recap right now, which I think is probably a good time. We had early Dark World access, and we found a lot of Pod small keys, and also the Thieves Town big key. So we've kind of searched everything we can find, and at this point, a lot of stuff from sequence breaking Pod shows us that there's a lot of stuff in Pod, but none of it that actually we can really use right now because we're lamp locked and like unable to get to desert and whatnot. So we did a sequence break of Death Mountain just now and found like bow, hook shot, and a lot of other useful things. So it's just been a slog right now because we don't know where that lamp is, and that logically is like holding back so much stuff.
Including the Ganon's Tower big key on the old man. And we've checked a lot of the overworld. The Smith Chain is done, Catfish, Zora, all those pain in the butt out of the way. We haven't found any fetch quest items aside from the powder, which the Magic Bat had a sword. We found another sword hidden in Turtle Rock, which was also lamp locked, and the fire chest is holding our 4 sword, but we won't see that. From all the things we have left unchecked, it looks like this is where our progression is hidden, and that is an Ice Palace. However, that was just the red boomerang.
That doesn't really help us in terms of progression.
And not even in the amounts of safety, as it's hard mode, and that red boomerang doesn't do much except for flip switches and pick up items.
Since we were talking about the music earlier, there's another bottle. Chloe Proward saying that you can recognize it because pendants are horns and crystal is like strings, which, playing trombone in high school, that explains why I like the Pendant Dungeon music more.
And the boots are near Misery Mire. However, we know where the boots are hiding. We just need to, get us to Myers. We're still looking for a flute.
I mean, we've been talking about all the stuff that is lamp locked. The thing is, all the stuff on Death Mountain could be flute locked, except for the GT big key on the old man. So we could find flute, and that could lead to boots.
And that's just a fire shield, so, cold stare. Or I suppose the big chest. I don't think we've been in there yet. It looks like we're bomb jumping across. Ice Palace is an interesting thing of routing, and there's the eastern big key.
Okay.
That's the big chest of Eastern Palace opened up for us. Is that where the lamp's hiding? As we find more big keys, Swamp Palace. Who likes fetch quests?
Okay.
But we're still not holding on to what we need. Come on, Cold Stare. Get us something. Get us a lamp. Get us a flute. Get us going somewhere an hour, 17 minutes in, and it feels like we've just been treading water. Eight shots with the fire rod, and we'll set up our tempered sword spin to hopefully push those cold stare puffs into the corner. One of them gets away, and ooh, gotta be careful here.
Gets it done. You know what the worst part is?
We got nothing in here, did we?
Yeah. You want to know what that eastern big key can get us to?
Just the big chest.
Yeah.
Oh, fetch quests. This is Key Sanity, everyone.
Oh boy, we got some big news. The book is in the big chest of Turtle Rock.
Uh-oh.
And if what Chloe Prower said earlier, that only logically needing 2 keys, that's in logic. Well, behind the lamp, so we're still missing lamp or flute.
That also opens up the tablets. I mean, we're still missing our piece to get us up there. There's the silver arrows in Turtle Rock. As this is our hard mode, they won't be useful until the Ganon's tower room, until Ganon's room, but I have to imagine both our runners will probably find that. So we just have to see. It looks like Xyrak's going to go ahead and set themselves up to finish Pod and Eastern. They'll decide to sequence break the Dark Rooms, unless he heads to Eastern first and finds that big key and finds the lamp hiding in that big chest. It looks like Leslie's setting themselves up to head over to Spike Cave. Or then, nope, they're going to go ahead and use their book. But we're still missing something that puts that book into logic. The seat has just been about an hour's worth of where's our access to the mountain?
So Ether just having a heart container.
No, remind me. Where was the skull? Was the Skullwoods key one of the ones we found in Ice Palace?
No, it was a swamp big key.
Okay, because we do have that that Skullwoods big key, but I can't remember where exactly it went, or it came from. If that one's in or out of logic.
Well, the Ice Palace one was in the pod dark basement, so that is lamp locked.
But Xyrak's gonna go ahead and say, disregard the logic. I want to finish Palace of Darkness.
I mean, it certainly makes sense. We found all 6 pod keys. So, might as well get it done now. While you're also going to do Eastern, you would imagine.
Definitely dipping back into Eastern, though. Go ahead and finish it up, and hopefully that big chest will be that progression lock that we've been looking for this entire seed.
I mean, trying to go back over everything we found at this point, Eastern big chest almost has to have lamp or flutes.
And it looks like Leslie Pro. Are they thinking a pedestal check here?
That might be the case.
It's like, well, I'm kind of in an awkward spot, but I've come all this way. I should at least check something. I wonder if they think they didn't check something before. I said, no ped check. Leslie's just kind of kicking around trying to figure out where do I need to go, and the answer for them is Ice Palace.
It also is you need to get the fire rod from the pyramid ledge.
And without that, they can't get into Ice Palace that they need to get to, so one can only hope that they're making their way to Pyramid Ledge to find that fire rod shortly.
The one thing we should point out at this point, given what we know, item-wise, Pet is dead. Desert Palace small key could be there. Hera small key could be there, but we don't... Again, we know there's a sword there.
Turtle Rock key?
One of the 2 Turtle Rock small keys. That... Realistically, that's all that's really left. The thing is, we know boots are in the mire shed. We assume flute and lamp have to be... one of them is in the Eastern big chest, and the thing is, both of them you need it for mire, so it couldn't be on the pedestal there. And whatever medallion we need to get into mire, we have to have, so that pretty much takes out all the items there.
And Xyrak's gonna go ahead and hammer out their differences with the Helmet Sword King 17 times. Leslie seems to be having issues figuring out where they have left unchecked.
Pyramid Ledge. Go to Pyramid Ledge.
Now they're pulling out their hammer and they're heading toward the right Dark World portal as we find 3 hundo on, or we find at least a cache of money on the Helmasaur King. That's another crystal get. That moves him up to 4 crystals. I'd imagine him. Well, he's going ahead and diving back into pod. This is something he left behind. The big chest, I think.
Yep. Now again, this would still be out of logic because of the lamp. Even though we got the big key from Mothula.
And Leslie Perot is going to go ahead and check the Bombos tablet here. We're still out of logic, but they're making their checks. And if this is something important, which unfortunately it's not, it could have put an interesting spin on Xyrak's routing of Turtle Rock.
Leslie looks like is going to go ahead and dip Desert with that book.
Now they don't have the Desert Palace big key, which we know is in...
It was in pod. I think it was in pod.
Or was that one of the ones in Ice Palace? Because there was like 3 big keys in Ice Palace.
No, it was in the pod Dark Maze.
That's right.
See, the last time I did a key sanity race, I got completely confused where everything was, so I actually learned this time to take notes.
Typically I have my note sheet here, but it's an interesting evening. There's 3 hundo, and Leslie Pro can't do anything else here in Desert Palace. We need them to get up to the pyramid ledge to find that fire rod. Save and get to the right place. Unfortunately, not getting our way into the Dark World. Alright, chat, we have a moment of hype here. What is hiding here in the Eastern Palace big chest that gets us going somewhere in this seed?
Lamp, flute, or something that leads to one of them. Survey says...
We're going to Swamp Palace. That's where we're going. This seed hates us!
Yo, dog, I heard you like fetch quests, so I put a fetch quest in your fetch quest, so you can fetch quest while you fetch quest.
I am pretty... I think that may just be a table flipper. Just give us something, anything, and yet, here we go. We get to dive deeper. Independent dungeons. This is key sanity. This is what I'm glad I'm not playing.
Yeah, I certainly concur with that. I mean, the one thing we do at least know is that from the hint in the front of Swamp, there is a unique item on the left side. So at least we know we have to go left side.
And that's... the left side's got to be the lamp at this point. Or better yet, it's the shovel, so we have to go to another fetch quest. Shovel to mushroom, and finally we get our lamp on the frickin' witch.
Alright, bloomerang on the Armos Knights.
And there is another crystal for him. They're at 6, or is it 5? I can't count. 5. Yes, 5. It's difficult to hear, to see the difference on my screen. And that, our tracker does bring up a good point. Is that opened up the pyramid fairy?
No, it didn't. I mean, it did. It did know to open it up logically.
And I would have to agree with our tracker. The logic's pretty much shot to heck at this point.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The
Beating
logic...
us around.
Sorry, didn't mean to step on you there. I mean,
It's okay.
Don't get me wrong. Yes, the logic is completely messed up at this point, but still.
Alright, now we finally get to head into Swamp Palace for the second time. We have our small key now so we can progress. How much further does this fetch to get our access to the mountain go? How much deeper must we descend in the depths of RNG hell?
Alright.
There's our Turtle Rock, another Turtle Rock key.
Alright.
That opened up Laser Bridge for Xyrak.
Alright, so let's review the logic, if we want to call it that.
What is logic?
I mean, so early on, in the early on, we got Fire Rod at Pyramid Ledge, we got Titan's Mitts, where were Titan's Mitts?
Sea House and the Thieves Den in the Lost Woods.
Yeah, the brewery. And then we had Flippers from Sick Kid, early Bottle. Hammer was Dark World Access. We did get early Canis Samaria from Sahasrala, so that would work, but the thing is, the Freezor room was where the eastern big key was, which led to the swamp small key, and Xyrak, press F to pay respects.
Definitely a rough time to take a death, as this seed is just kicking our runner's just a little bit harder than it already is.
Chat is asking, is that TR small key go mode? We've got the big key for desert. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones done. If we have, yeah, I think whatever Death Mountain progression we find, that's go mode.
Or at least, I mean, in a sense, I mean, we're still missing those logic pieces.
But again, as chat keeps pointing out, who cares about the logic at this point? I just want to get this race over with.
I would definitely agree with that assessment. We already got the Ganon's Tower big key. We're just playing a standard mode seed. All right, there's another Turtle Rock key. That Turtle Rock is now full clearable via the logic. We need all 4 keys logically to get to the back. So now we're just missing that piece that sends us up to the mountain.
All right, and from the first hint, the hint in Swamp Palace, we know there's a unique item left side. So at this point, I mean, we've said this about 3 times at this point. Either lamp or flute has to, either be here or something that it basically continues this logic death chain.
Perhaps an inception of mountain logic. We must go deeper and deeper and deeper. All right, left side swamp. Well, what is that unique item you've been holding out on this with? I'm calling a fetch quest because this seed is evil. Burn the machine that birthed it.
Chad also reminding me that if it's lamp, we still don't. Xyrak wouldn't have books, so wouldn't it be in go mode because still can't get into desert. But all right, first left side chest. There's a lamp.
Praise the light! We've found our way through the dark. He still has to make his way up to Turtle Rock, but I have to imagine that probably where they might head back to after finding that logic piece, but they're deciding to go deeper yet. Looking for the book or the lamp, because they have to access the book or the flute so they can get to desert. But here we are, an hour and 30 minutes in, and we finally found the piece that brought light to the logic that we've been kicking ourselves with for over an hour.
You know what I'm realizing, though? That the book was Turtle Rock Big Chest.
And he could have already had it.
I would say it might be a while. Yeah. So, you can't...
Well, after he clears through this, there isn't much left to him. Because the lamp doesn't unlock anything else that we have that he hasn't already seen. And he did just find 2 more Turtle Rock small keys in here.
As well as the blue mail.
And that feels good. He's definitely great into the safety side, as Leslie is still kicking themselves trying to figure out where in God's name am I supposed to go. And unfortunately, they're walking the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Pyramid Fairy opens up. And yeah, can't get into desert, on Xyrak's side at least, can't get into desert, can't get into mire, so yeah, you're almost kind of forced back to Turtle Rock.
There's really not much. I cannot think of anything that's left for them that's gone unchecked for them thus far. That was just opened up by the things they found. And down goes Argus. There's a 5 and our Pendant of Courage.
We haven't seen a hint about Sahasrahla yet, right?
No. So we could choose to check it here. Imagine I'll probably do it from the Light World side. He's walking in the desert direction. I don't think he's checked Agina yet. No, he has not. He's grabbing a bomb.
Nope.
We dive deeper into the chain as Leslie Pro's heading back up toward the Zora area, still not finding the location they missed. One can only hope that it wasn't they didn't falsely check off Pyramid Ledge when they didn't they perish on the way up there? Or was that Rywek or Xyrak that did that?
No, Leslie perished on the way there.
Alright, there's a save and quit out of the Zora area. Please, if you can, chat, send Leslie your energy to 20 minutes. Send your energy 20 minutes into the past and get them toward that fire rod. Alright, Xyrak heads back into the Dark World. Pulling out their hookshot.
Is probably going to check Pyramid Ferry.
It definitely seems like a good play there, and Leslie Pro is just going back and rechecking things. Alright, and that's one red bomb picked up. We don't know what's hiding behind this red bomb, but we do know it's nothing that we need. And one could hope for Xyrak's sake that it doesn't lead them to the flute, which points them away from where they need to go. But it would give them boots. To answer a question in chat, Xyrak has not gone to desert because they do not have the book or the flute. They need to. The book we know is in the Turtle Rock Big Chest, which they decided not to go to. A flute find, however, would override the need for that book, and they would definitely find themselves in go mode. And there's the Desert Palace small key. That's more of Desert unlocked, but Xyrak still can't get there. As we see Xyrak walking past where Leslie Pro needs to go.
I mean, considering how nuts this seed has been logically, like, I mean, you gotta feel for Leslie at this point with just, I mean,
I have to say that like what we're seeing is perhaps an oversight on a tracker side or just utter seed fatigue. There's a big 20 as a tip for returning the village elder's silly green necklace.
and this certainly looks like Xyrak's attempt to go back to Turtle Rock.
Definitely hoping so if you're wanting to get them done with this race. As unfortunate as it seems that just the more that Leslie gets pulled away from where they need to go, the farther they are from where that there really isn't much of a race left here. As Leslie's heading back in the desert, they did not find that small key that we know is in the Pyramid Ferry, so there's not much else for them here. And definitely here as we wander our way up and start getting closer to new checks. The link was already posted, so if you haven't already given these runners a follow for, if nothing else, a little bit of pity after being kicked around this hard, show them a little bit of mercy and a little bit of love with a Twitch follow. As we get a $5 in the Desert Palace big chest. So you have to, you have to wonder if Xyrak still possibly feels behind. Yeah, you're looking at chat. It took you forever and a day to find that lamp. You could have sequence broken a lot further behind, but you haven't seen a dot done yet in SRL. So it's an interesting feel. Xyrak's making their way further into Turtle Rock. We know that they should find their book momentarily, which would put them in go mode. Just have to finish off Trinex and head into Desert Palace.
Meanwhile, Leslie did steal a key from the back, so we're going to see the two chests on the right side of Desert, but don't think it's going to be much of anything.
It could be our flute, which would send Leslie even further in the wrong direction. And just some more booms as they continue to kick and swing. Where did I miss? And we will go ahead and skip past the Mimic Cave because we got the hint that there was nothing there. And at 1 hour, 44 minutes, and about 14 seconds, Xyrak has finally entered Go Mode.
Finally. Mercifully. I don't even know what other adjectives or adverbs to put to that.
They're just relieved to be here. At the point where we don't have to deal with any more crap. And good thing Xyrak decided not to just go mode the rest of the checks here and finding their silver arrows there. A chest that they could have skipped. Just a dark maze here, and a Trinex kill, and then a quick zip through Desert Palace is all that's left between Xyrak and Ganon's Tower. We've already got that Ganon's Tower big key, so no guessing game for us tonight.
Xyrak still checking Laser Bridge. Or maybe getting the safety door.
I think it's going for the safety door. I couldn't imagine him looking for anything else. He is checking Laser Bridge. What could they be looking for here? Or do they not? You have to know you're in go mode here. And Leslie Pro is ascending the mountain again, still trying to figure out where they left their progression key. We know they need to get to the pyramid ledge. And there's another Ice Palace key for Xyrak. $50. And Thieves Town compass. And that laser shot was intentional to reset his health pool.
Mm-hmm.
And Helmasaur's a jerk. Been back for the full magic lantern, though, even though there's one in the next room. As we cross the big gap and make our way to the Lizard of Three Necks. Go ahead and heading in for the safe strats. Doesn't have the gold sword to get the true easy quick kill, but makes quick work of that firehead. And just short of the 0 cycle there on Xyrak's side. Alright, and that's Trinex down. That's 6 crystals, 1 more to pick up in Desert Palace, but that won't take us too long.
You just gotta feel for Leslie at this point.
Yeah, I feel for both of our runners at this point, because this seat has been just left of heck. Just brutal. As they're basically high-fiving, they were unfortunately in different positions on both screens. And Xyrak still seems to be making checks. What are they looking for?
Flute? Why you would want the flute, I don't know. I mean, that heart container will help with trying to beat Ganon.
I mean, if you're looking at his position, unless... he definitely map checked earlier in the game and knows that that desert is his last crystal. Because we found that desert map super early.
No, actually, we did. No.
That was super early that we got that map, I swear.
No, I thought it was Turtle. Oh, I thought it was Heron Eastern.
That one can't. I mean, that map came up a little bit sooner, but a little bit later, I should say.
He must not think. I mean, unless he does a map check, he must not realize that Mire or Desert is the other pendant. Or Mire's the pendant and Desert is the crystal. So that may be what he's doing.
Just double checking that, just checking those boxes off on the way over. As Leslie makes another dip into the dark world via Link's house, one can only hope that they're going to find their way up to the pyramid ledge, but that's the wrong direction. And Xyrak's gonna make their way over to desert. They're gonna go ahead and check most of these things off, not leaving the big chest behind. Or did they already check that when they were in here the first time?
I don't remember.
So much to keep track of on this. Just brutal key sanity seed.
I mean, this is what key sanity does to you.
I think after this, I would need all the kittens. Chat bringing up a good point. We did find the compass. We know Xyrak has not checked anything here. But I think they're going to decide just to dive straight to the boss, because if that's their crystal, they're done. So Leslie comes back, enters Ice Palace to read the hint. Can't do anything yet because they do not have their fire rod, which we know is on the pyramid ledge, which is where they really, really, really need to go.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go ahead and switch gears as we're going to take down the Land Molus here, and Xyrak will finally get the affirmation that they were looking for, that they do not have to do any more checks. They can head straight up Ganon's tower. They have enough keys to just, I believe they should have enough keys to just go straight up the tower without having to stop. Alright, and with that 7th crystal, we would typically be playing a game. Unfortunately, this is Key Sanity, and we already know where the big key, Ganon's Tower big key is, so if you had guessed Old Man, congratulations, I've got 5 internet points for you. Alright, it's time to ascend the tower. Just a little bit of this seed left, and thankfully the Xyrak will have found their way out of the darkness and into the light.
Wait, did they change something in the menu? I didn't realize you could actually, like, press a button in the menu and see which maps and compasses you had.
You know, I've never played Key Sanity myself, so I'm not familiar with it myself. As Leslie Pro is walking back into the Hammerpeg Cave. Might as well pick up these rupees I got earlier. Apparently, it's when you press select while in that menu, you can see the maps and compasses you've collected.
Okay.
Today we learned. Now,
I'm certainly ecstatic that you're here watching Bungie and me commentate this race between Xyrak and Leslie Pro. I will also mention that there is one more race tonight between Sabotender and Mento and JP, and it's a pretty big race. If JP wins, he will get the second spot in Group F. If Sabo wins, we have a 3-way tie between JP, Mentos Man, and Sabotender. So, at the conclusion of this race, by all means, head over to the main Speed Gaming channel to see that race. And assuming that the inevitable happens that we think is, well, again, inevitable, this will mean that Xyrak and Bonta will have a race tomorrow that will matter. If Bonta wins, he gets the second slot. If Xyrak wins, we have another 3-way tie between Xyrak, GFE, and Bonta.
There's definitely a lot on the line after this race if the result holds, which I can't imagine it with the way things are shaking out. There's going to be much of a change. Also pointing out as we ascend the tower that we also have a an episode of Randomizer After Dark tonight at 2:30 a.m. on Eastern on the main Speed Gaming channel. We will find Perdwong and Jula Ninja doing a hard Enemizer seed with a standard all dungeon. So we're just going to see that boss shovel that also has some indication.
Yep. Hulo Ninja has 2 races left between Wong and I Am the Schwartz. And pretty much, Wong and Schwartz are at 9 wins. Hulo Ninja is at 8 wins. So, basically, pretty much no matter who wins, there's going to be a tie in Group E.
It's interesting to see how it plays out. If Perdwong and the Schwartz win, but not both, that winner takes the second spot. If Jula Ninja wins out, they take the second spot. If both Perdwong and Schwartz win those races, there will be a 2-way tiebreaker between them. So definitely a lot to play for. A lot of potential tiebreakers as we make our way. We have just we have just about 25 hours left of this group stage left. A lot of action yet to be seen.
Yeah, we have...
Go ahead.
Sorry, we have 11 of the 16 groups have been pretty much hammered out at this point, but we've still got 5 of them that can have some nasty ties.
And Xyrak has to be a little bit careful as they're getting a little low on health on Land Mo 2 here. And finally takes him down. And it's been a while to see that text block in the randomizer. As we continue to make our way up the tower climb, we don't have the boots, as those are locked behind the flute we have not found yet. We'd imagine it's buried somewhere here in the tower. As Leslie Pro is just trying to check off all the places they think they've been or have not been, trying to find their fire rod. Xyrak continues that climb.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, like this is in no way speaking any ill will of Leslie at this point, but I think part of this also probably is knowing the inevitable, because you've got 2 crystals and you're completely blocked by any sort of fire source at this point, and you're 2 hours in, you're kind of it's all over but the crime in some ways.
Yeah, I definitely think at this point you feel kind of hopelessly behind. At this point, you're just trying to figure out, all right, where did I go wrong? Cut your losses, analyze where things went wrong. I mean, you're coming in, you're only here to mainly play spoiler to Xyrak. You can't progress in this tournament. At this point, you're just trying to check off, okay, where was this mistake made that could have saved me from feeling bad as you probably do, as we find our other Castle Tower small key in Moldorm's last possessions.
Well, the seed really didn't want you to have to do Aga 1.
You could not have buried that any deeper into this Ganon goal seed.
And either way, Xyrak is into the Geometry Wars.
Pretty good early setup for that double. Unfortunately, didn't get it. It looks like that was a double there, though. Just a single there. All right, down goes the sorcerer, and the big pig is upon us now. right, we're making our way into the big pig fight. Just a few tempered sword swings, and we'll be on our way to the end of this hell. And try to get us further on into this tournament. Xyrak will have a lot to play for tomorrow in their race. And then that should be the end of Phase 2. Now, if only Ganon would sit still, we can take care of Phase 3. Please stop the teleports. You've already put these runners through enough. Just take a bow here, Ganon.
I mean, he is kind of a pig devil, why wouldn't he? But do we find the arrows in Turtle Rock? Yep, here's one in your face.
Xyrak has to be careful with the matchup, but they did pick up a green potion earlier. It was a long time ago, but it comes in clutch now.
That should be a double, but only needed one, so that will do it.
And go ahead and get your GGs in chat for Xyrak there.
And after walking through the door, Xyrak finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 7 seconds. GG's to Xyrak. And at this point, the crime has been committed, and we can report that Leslie Pro has forfeited. So GG's to both of them. Alright, we're going to get Xyrak in here for an interview. And we have Xyrak in chat. GG.
Thanks, Jax.
So, how you feeling?
That was a chain of unfortunate events.
You need a hug now?
That was... I didn't think it was too bad personally until about the 80-90 minute mark, and then once I got down to like a couple of Turtle Rock keys and desert access basically left, that got real ugly real quick.
One thing that was certainly something we talked about during the early portion of this race was, do you sequence break Death Mountain, or do you go to pod with the 4 keys you've found at this point? And, I mean, how long were you thinking about potentially sequence breaking Death Mountain?
A long time. I wanted one more item that was useful up there before I went. Like, I wanted the hook shot or the Book of Medora. Something to make that just a touch more efficient than it was. And eventually, I got to the point where I had a couple of scattered spots and just too much up there to ignore it. And of course, the hook shot itself was actually up there, so it wasn't too bad when I finally did go.
Yeah, it wasn't like the bow and the book and the hook shot up there.
That book. This is like the 4th or 5th seed in a row where, like, you had to dive deep into Turtle Rock for something, and I think it's the 4th or 5th time I didn't do it. Like, I was just sitting there, like, I even went and stole the key from the Pokey, right? And then I was like, I don't have the lamp. Logically, I'm short a key to being able to get to Laser Bridge. Like, surely there's not anything in, like, the 2 chests or whatever that logically I have access to. Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
And if I may, speaking after that point, when you did go back and find that book, you kept checking things despite basically being in go mode. Did you not know that Desert was that last crystal at that point?
No, I was looking for the flute so I could get boots because I thought I needed those for some reason. And then, literally as I jumped down from Bombo's tablet, I was like, wait a minute, this is key sanity. I will never need boots. I should probably just get on my horse and finish.
Right on.
Alright, I think we are ready to bring Leslie Pro in, and we have, so GG's Leslie Pro, that was brutal.
Everybody has a night like that from time to time. I think I know what happened is when I was doing the Southern Dark World sweeps, I had just gone to Hobo, and I died before I could get to Pyramid. So then I decided, okay, let's just route the north side in, and guess who never went back to Pyramid? Yep, that was GG.
You even went to Aga Tower, which I was impressed with.
I figured why the heck not at that point. I might as well just check out everything just to be sure, because at that point I wasn't even sure where the logic was.
I mean, the thing was, you didn't even see half of how the logic worked out, because essentially, what it essentially boiled down to was once you got that fire rod, you had to go into Ice Palace to get the Eastern Big Key, then go to the Eastern Big Chest to get the Swamp Small Key, and then go into Swamp Left Side to finally get the lamp.
Well, Key Sanity has been known for pulling some rude stunts like that, and that certainly was a rude.
Very rude indeed. So, again, Xyrak and Leslie Pro, major props to both of you for having to put up with that seed. Again, chat, please be sure to give follows to both of you on Twitch. Xyrak, I will give you the last question, because you've got you had this big race to get done. You have one more big race to go against Bonta. If you win, it's a 3-way tie in Group H. If Bonta wins, he takes the second slot in your group. So, how are you feeling, and any thoughts going into that final race?
No pressure, right? It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I need to clean up my play in a few spots. And if I can do that, I think Bonta and I can put on a good show tomorrow. And, chips will fall where they fall. I'll look forward to it. When I saw this group pulled at the reveal show, there wasn't a lot of chatter about it at the time, but I looked at it and I was like, there is so much depth in this group 1 through 6 that this could very easily be like a group where everybody hovers around 500. And honestly, that's basically what's happened. So this group was tough, and to have the race for your life going into it, race 15, I probably would have taken that. So take the free roll and see what happens.
And if I may go into that match tomorrow, you're set up for a hard swordless all dungeons open. How do you feel about that last race?
Honestly, I have been taking all dungeons swordless for my picks, so the bot rolled pretty close to what I've been taking. So on that front, that's probably a little bit advantageous. But I mean, Bonta just, all he did was win the French tournament this year, so it's not like he's bad execution wise. So that's gonna be that's gonna be a tough race, and I'm looking forward to it.
And
as you all should be, because this group, it's like he said, this group was stacked 1 through 6, and there were a number of different ways that the chips could have fallen. It just happened to be they've fallen the way that they have, and I finish up tomorrow with a doubleheader.
And you can check out this race if you're a big Xyrak fan. After this slaughter, you can find them on the Link to the Past Randomizer at Link to the Past Randomizer channel at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
And as we mentioned earlier, going on right now on the main Speed Gaming channel, if you liked this seed, well, we did it. We're doing exactly this, but randomized swords between JP and Sabotender. If JP wins that race, he takes the second spot in Group F. If Sabo wins, we have a 3-way tie between JP, Mentos Man 8, and Sabotender. And I did peek my head in there. It still looks pretty close right now. There's still a lot of that race to go. So, Bungie to the Tree, it was certainly a pleasure having you in the commentary booth again, and do want to give a shout out to our tracker, Mr. Broadstone.
It's also, I believe, also taking care of our restream duties. This was a lot of fun, a tough race. Get your GGs and your final follows onto these runners. This was an absolute monstrosity. Looking into these, a little bit of the action has been scheduled for tomorrow. 2:30 a.m. Eastern, we have that race between Perdwong and Jula Ninja, which has a lot to go for. If you're looking for some Andy action, you'll find him on Speed Gaming 4 at 4:30 p.m. on Speed Gaming 4. And then also on Speed Gaming 4 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we will find Blaine and Killer App doing some inverted hard mode all dungeons. 9 p.m. on Speed Gaming 5, we'll find Rylak versus Vivi. Ganon Open Uncle is shared hard. There's a lot of action tomorrow. It's the final day of the tournament. If you love Randomizer, if you love this tournament, that is going to be the day to sit back and watch. There's a lot to be played for yet.
Absolutely. All right. For, again, GG's to Xyrak Leslie Pro. For Mr. Broadstone, for Bungie to the Tree, I am Jex Reffi. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next mission.
Yep, have a good night. Thanks for the race.